Using 11 Labs, I was able to create a clone of my voice so realistic that even my wife can't tell the difference. With 11 Labs, you can create a perfect clone of your voice and use it to create authentic human speech with unrivaled fidelity, indistinguishable from the real thing, in 29 languages. You can also use the 11 Labs Voice Designer to create a new unique voice, and even use clones of professional voice artists from its voice library. But 11 Labs doesn't stop there, because it's brimming with state-of-the-art features like speech-to-speech, dubbing, long-form speech, and even earning passive income from your cloned voice. So it's not surprising that this service has received a lot of hype. So there's a lot of stuff going on with it. It can take you a little while to get your head around it all. That's why I made this video. But once you understand the features, you can get up and running very quickly indeed. Just with a very brief audio sample, I can have my cloned voice ready to go. Or with just a couple of clicks, I can create a new voice, or select a voice clone from the library, and then using any of the above mentioned voices, I can generate my human sounding speech in just a few minutes.
I can also speak in any voice.
Any voice.
Any voice.
Or dub any video into any of the 29 languages supported by 11 Labs with the voice of the original narrator. And if I wanted to do a complete audiobook, well, 11 Labs has me covered too, with the projects feature. In this complete walkthrough, I will show you how to do all of the above, so you can generate realistic speech for your videos, podcasts, audiobooks, chatbots, etc. And then how you can leverage the 29 languages of 11 Labs so that you can reach a worldwide audience. So let's get into it and see if 11 Labs really is that good. Alright, in order to get started with 11 Labs, you do need an account. I will leave a link for you in the description below that allows you to sign up for free so that you can follow along with this tutorial. When you click the link in the description, it will take you to the 11 Labs website here. Now go to pricing and you will see that there's a free plan, which is free forever, that provides you with 10,000 characters per month, which is about 10 minutes of audio, which is more than enough to be able to follow along with this tutorial and try out the main features of 11 Labs. So click the Get Started Free button. You can sign up either with Google or with an email and password. And then once you've signed up, you'll be logged in and you'll see this speech synthesis page and you're ready to go. So let's start off with the voice library. When you log in, you'll see this screen here and this menu on the left. So the voice library is in voices. You just toggle this switch here and we're in the library. So in the voice library, what we have is a vast selection of voices contributed by the 11 Labs community, including professional voice actors. All these voices are additional to the standard voices provided by 11 Labs. And any 11 Labs subscriber can contribute to this library by offering their voice and also earn passive income from it, from the usage. These voices don't cost any extra for an 11 Labs subscriber, but the author of the voice will receive a kind of royalties for them. So in here you'll find an almost endless selection of voices. If you scroll down, it will just keep on loading and loading and loading. So normally when you have a project, you have some kind of voice in mind. So the library comes with very good searching tools to be able to filter down to what you're looking for. First of all, you'll see these 7 category tabs up the top: narrative and story, conversational, characters and animation, etc. So these are categories that 11 Labs itself has decided these voices belong to. Okay, that's one way of filtering. One at a time is best. However, the best way to search, I believe, is to use the advanced search tool with the advanced filters. So it's pretty straightforward. You have your category, I'll come back to in a minute. You have your gender, let's say female, 3 types of ages: young, middle-aged and old, middle-aged. Language, English, and then an accent. So we'll just go for American. And that's filtered down the selection here. Now, in the category filter, we can choose between professional and voice design. What that means is professional is a voice clone, which somebody's made using the professional voice cloning feature. I'll show you that in a bit. And then voice design is a voice that somebody's made using the voice design tool that comes with 11 Labs, which I'll also show you after this. The difference is that professional is somebody providing a sample, which is then cloned, and voice design is generated by 11 Labs. So if you want, you could just choose professional, and then we can start listening to the voices and decide which one we like. So, Alicia.
There is no failure except in no longer trying.
Mia.
Imagine the possibilities of this cloned voice for videos, audiobooks, or even having me read your favorite online content aloud.
And then we can switch it up to male, old, English, British. So let's try Paddington.
I'm not interested in age. People who tell me their age are silly. You're as old as you feel.
Sure.
To bring anything into your life, imagine that it's already there.
Pretty good. So now moving on to voice design. Okay, voice design is here in what's called the Voice Lab. This is your collection of voices that you have chosen from the library, or voices that you've designed or uploaded and cloned. So if you want to design a new voice, you click this icon here, and then you have these options. So first is voice design, then it's instant voice cloning, then it's the voice library, which we've just seen, and then it's professional voice cloning. So we'll look at the voice cloning after this. First of all, let's just look at the voice design. So this is a way of creating a completely original, unique voice that nobody else will have, even if they were to use the same parameters. So it's pretty simple. That you just choose, again, your gender, your age, your accent, and then you've got this accent strength slider. So let's put it on female, middle-aged, British. We'll leave the accent strength as is, 150%, and generate.
First we thought the PC was a calculator. Then we found out how to turn numbers into letters, and we thought it was a typewriter.
We could just change the accent strength to 100.
First we thought the PC was a calculator. Then we found out how to turn numbers into letters, and we thought it was a typewriter.
Okay, so now supposedly if we generate again with the same parameters, it should sound somewhat different.
First we thought the PC was a calculator. Then we found out how to turn numbers into letters, and we thought it was a typewriter.
Yes, certainly different. Okay, that's the voice design. Okay, so now let's look at voice cloning. And as we saw before, the option to clone a voice is, or to add a cloned voice is in the Voice Lab. Clicking on the plus button here, and 11 Labs offers two types of cloning. They're both really good. One's slightly inferior. So we have instant voice cloning and professional voice cloning. The instant voice cloning is the quickest one, obviously, and requires an audio sample of 30 seconds and is generated instantly, as the name suggests. And then we have the professional voice cloning, which requires a minimum of 30 minutes of audio, and really as much as you can throw at it, the more the better. This takes about between 2 to 6 hours, so it's a fair bit longer. Worth the wait though, if you ask me. So let's do an instant voice cloning. Let's click on here. You can speak straight into the mic, or you can upload a sample. So let's give it a name. And I'm going to record audio. The sword, which we in the West are encouraged to beat into plowshares, and the correct techniques and mentality for using it, are the main topics of the 3 essays presented here. the essays. Okay, so I have my recording here, and I have to check the box to confirm that I have the right to use this voice for the purposes of making a voice clone. And if we click Add Voice, the process will get underway, and looks like it's already done. There you go. So if we want to hear what it sounds like, we have to click Use. That will open up the speech synthesis page, and we'll put in a bit of text to see how it sounds. Okay, let's generate.
A perfectly cooked fried egg can upgrade practically anything from avocado toast to a double cheeseburger and beyond. If you're looking to start making diner-worthy eggs right at home, we're here to show you how to make perfect fried eggs, whether you prefer yours over easy.
Okay, so it's definitely me. So that's the instant voice clone, and now the professional voice clone. I already have my professional voice clone running, and with my subscription plan there's only one voice allowed. So the process is the same, you just upload more samples and it takes longer. So let's just listen to it in action. Let's select it here. Right, we'll see if you can tell the difference. Let's go.
A perfectly cooked fried egg can upgrade practically anything from avocado toast to a double cheeseburger and beyond. If you're looking to start making diner-worthy eggs right at home, we're here to show you how to make perfect fried eggs.
Perfect. It's amazing. Probably worth mentioning here that the instant voice cloning is available on the starter plan. That's the next one up from free. And the professional is on the creator plan. Once we've looked at all the features, then we'll take a look at the pricing and see which plans include which features. And the last thing I want to show you in the voice library is my voice cloned and on offer in the voice library and being used. So let's have a look. If we go to the filters, it's professional, it's male, it's middle-aged, it's English British, and should be here. There we go. Jonathan, thoughtful, calm, reassuring.
Just trust yourself, then you will know how to live.
Okay. So you can see from these stats here, 173 users have used my voice, and nearly 1 million characters have been generated. That's in about 3 weeks. And then if we go over here to payouts, you can see my payout for that usage, which is not a lot of money, but it is passive. So if you can somehow get huge amounts of usage from your voice, you could earn a lot more than this. Just to also say, there are various options when you offer your voice up, and some of them are more lucrative than others. When offering up your voice clone, you have to choose a minimum commitment period. So if you choose a longer minimum period, your payout rate is higher. I chose the minimum commitment period, so I'm getting the minimum rate. Check my more in-depth video on how to use your voice clone to earn money on 11 Labs here. So now moving on to the text-to-speech function, which you'll find here in the menu under speech. So here I'll show you how to choose your voice and then to generate speech. So to choose a voice, you come down here to the bottom left, click here, and you'll see a list. So what you've got here are the voices in your voice lab, as well as voices that come with 11 Labs. They're also divided into categories. So you have, first of all, the professional cloned voices. So these are the voices that have been provided by other users that have been generated or cloned using the professional voice clone function. I have my own clones, and the generated section are voices that you've selected from the voice library that have been generated using the voice design tool, or perhaps using the instant voice cloning. And then further down you have these pre-made voices. These are the voices that come with 11 Labs. Okay? So you can play a sample of each voice to help you make your selection. Let's try Brandon.
We make our own fortunes and we call them fate.
Brian.
The ballot is stronger than the bullet.
Adam.
He that is giddy thinks the world turns round.
And so on. We can try Emily.
Never mistake motion for action.
George.
The less effort, the faster and more powerful you will be.
So anyway, let's select Brian. Now we need some text. I've got some prepared. So over on the right we have the settings panel, which comes by default with these settings as they are. You can play around with those, but for now we're just going to leave them. Now let's hit generate speech.
If one puts his mind in his opponent's sword, his mind will be taken by that sword. If he puts his mind in his own sword, his mind will be taken by his own sword.
Let's try one of these generated voices. Hephaestus. Let's see.
If one puts his mind in his opponent's sword, his mind will be taken by that sword. If he puts his mind in his own sword, his mind will be taken by his own sword.
All right. Now, let's have a play around with these settings. So, the first one is stability. Put it to the left, it's more variable. Put it to the right, it's more stable. If you put it too far to the left, it will warn you that you may get instability. So if you put your mouse over here, it will give you an explanation. So if you increase the variability, it can be more expressive. And if you increase the stability, it will make it sound more consistent between generations, but could be less expressive. And high similarity can boost voice clarity. So let's leave similarity as it was, but let's drop the stability to see if we can push it to get to be more expressive. All right.
If one puts his mind in his opponent's sword, his mind will be taken by that sword. If he puts his mind in his own sword, his mind will be taken by his own sword.
Yeah, the difference is not hugely noticeable, but I think it's there. Let's try the style exaggeration. Okay, it says over 50 may lead to instability, so let's try 34.
If one puts his mind in his opponent's sword, his mind will be taken by that sword. If he puts his mind in his own sword, his mind will be taken by his own sword.
Okay, yeah, that's generated a bit more emphasis, I believe. Quite liked that. So, although the differences aren't hugely noticeable, but it's a question of playing around and then listening afterwards to compare the difference. Okay, so now let's look at the languages. 11 Labs comes with the possibility of generating speech in 29 languages. So, how that works is you have to provide the text in your chosen language so that the voice you've selected can speak it in that language. So I've got a bit of Spanish text prepared, some instructions on how to make carbonara pasta. So we'll use Hephaestus again. And that's it really. We just put in the Spanish and generate.
Paso 1. Pon una olla grande con agua a hervir. Paso 2. Pica finamente los 100 gramos de panceta, habiendo retirado primero cualquier piel. Raya finamente 50 gramos de queso pecorino y 50 gramos de parmesano y mézclalos juntos.
Excellent. That's proper Spanish, so I'm fluent in Spanish, so I know. That's an excellent result. What we could do now is we could try another language. So let's try French.
Étape 1. Mettez une grande casserole d'eau à bouillir. Étape 2. Hachez finement les 100 grammes de pancetta en ayant d'abord retiré toute la peau. Râpez finement 50 grammes de fromage pecorino et 50 grammes de parmesan et mélangez-les ensemble.
There you go. It sounds French to me. I also wanted to show you the model in the settings panel. So we have, we're currently on 11 multilingual version 2. It's the state-of-the-art model, multilingual model. If we click here, we can see some other options. In any case, the best one would be 11 multilingual version 2, which we have. Also, you'll find if you select some voices, it will advise you to change the model. Well, there you go. I've selected my own voice, and it's automatically selected 11 Multilingual version 1. Here we go. If I select a voice, this voice for example, it says we recommend switching to 11 Multilingual V1 to get the best quality for the selected voice. So you click switch and it will do that for you. So you don't really need to worry too much about this. When you select a voice, it will generally load the best model for that voice or advise you to change it. Okay. And finally over here we have the history tab. So this is where you can find all of your previous generations and play them back.
Étape 1. Mettez une grande casserole.
Download as MP3 or WAV. And then we have TTS for text-to-speech. Now, to demonstrate the languages function of 11 Labs, let's just run through a few different languages on this sentence. I'll use my cloned voice, but you can obviously use any voice from 11 Labs. Also, I'll use my voice for all of the translations because that way you can see how versatile 11 Labs is. Because then you'll be able to see how it can generate speech in the different languages using the same voice. So let's start with the English.
How many roads must a man walk down before you call him a man? Spanish. ¿Cuántos caminos debe caminar un hombre antes de que lo llames hombre? German. Wie viele Wege muss ein Mann gehen, bevor man ihn einen Mann nennt?
Japanese.
男性と呼ばれるためには、男性がいくつの庭を歩かなければならないでしょうか?
Hindi.
एक आदमी को कितने रास्ते चलने होते हैं जिससे उसे आदमी कहा जाए?
Greek.
Πόσους δρόμους πρέπει να περπατήσει ένας άνθρωπος πριν τον αποκαλέσεις άνδρα? Ukrainian. Скільки доріг повинен пройти чоловік, перш ніж ви будете називати його чоловіком?
Chinese.
一个人要走多少条路才能称之为男子?
Okay, so hopefully you can see how good 11 Labs is at creating speech in other languages, all from one and the same voice. Okay, I think as we're looking at speech generation, it's worth quickly going to the pricing to mention the fact that each plan has a different quota for voice creation, so voice generation. So in the free plan, you have up to 10,000 characters per month, which is approximately equivalent to 10 minutes of audio. In the starter, 30,000 characters, which is about half an hour of audio. In the creator plan, 100,000 characters per month, which is about 2 hours of audio, and then 500,000 and 2 million characters per month. Okay, so now we'll take a look at speech-to-speech. Okay, so now let's take a look at speech-to-speech. Speech-to-speech is also in the speech synthesis page under speech in the main menu. Click the speech-to-speech tab. So what is speech-to-speech? With text-to-speech, you can tell your voice what to say by providing the text. You have a little bit of control over how it says it. But speech-to-speech allows you to have full control over exactly how it's spoken. Let's take it straight from the horse's mouth. Say it how you want it and transform your voice into another character with full control over emotions, timing and delivery. So how does speech-to-speech achieve all that? Well, I'll show you now. So the first thing you're going to do is record a sample. Clicking on here. Be not afraid of greatness. Some are born great, while others have greatness thrust upon them. Let's choose a voice quite different to mine. I've chosen Brian.
The ballot is stronger than the bullet.
Okay, let's generate.
Be not afraid of greatness. Some are born great, while others have greatness thrust upon them.
That's excellent. I think that's really faithful to how I've said it. Just to illustrate the difference, let's listen to the text-to-speech version of Brian speaking the same text.
Be not afraid of greatness. Some are born great, while others have greatness thrust upon them.
Yeah, nothing like it. It's okay, but it's lacking the rhythm, the tone, pacing. Sounds flat, less human, I suppose. So anytime you want to compare your outputs, you can go to your history over here, and you have them all listed. The most recent at the top. So using speech-to-speech, we've managed to get Brian to say the text as I said it. This allows us to have complete control over the delivery, timing and emotion of any voice on 11 Labs. This is incredibly powerful, much more powerful than text-to-speech, and a really game-changing feature. Now let's try saying the same text a different way and see what the result is. Be not afraid of greatness. Some are born great, and others have greatness thrust upon them. Let's go.
Be not afraid of greatness. Some are born great, and others have greatness thrust upon them.
Yeah, there you go. I think Brian finds it a bit difficult to speak that way, but the voice you choose is a factor in the outcome. And now let's try again. Be not afraid of greatness. Some are born great, while others have greatness thrust upon them.
Be not afraid of greatness. Some are born great, while others have greatness thrust upon them.
Great, brilliant. What's interesting is, if you noticed, also it's picked up the accent. It really does emulate your original speech. Now finally, let's just try with a different voice. Let's have a bit of fun with a different voice.
But these are not normal times in our politics. Washington is a...
Here we go.
Be not afraid of greatness. Some are born great, while others have greatness thrust upon them.
Absolutely brilliant. You can have a lot of fun with this. I invite you to do so. So once you've got your speech-to-speech recordings, you go to history if you want to see them or download them. Here they are. STS instead of TTS for speech-to-speech. Right, now we'll move on to the powerful dubbing feature. Right, let's look at dubbing. This is an amazing tool. Essentially, it's a video translator which can translate any video into any of the 29 languages supported by 11 Labs. So it will take the original voiceover, analyze it, translate it, and then generate the speech in the language of your choice. And it even uses the original narrator's voice. So dubbing is found on the main menu here. So without further ado, let's have a look. I've got a sample video prepared so we can run through the process. So the panel is quite simple. We have the project name here. The source language, you can leave it on detect or you can set it yourself. I'm going to set it myself. And then your target language, the language you want the video to be spoken in. Let's put it on French for the time being. And then you select your source. So it has YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Vimeo, a URL. You can upload a video here, and there is also a manual option which is more complicated. We won't be going into that in this video, but if you see a link on the screen here, it means I've done the video where I go more into depth. So I have a very brief video prepared so we can do this quickly, which I've uploaded to YouTube. I'll click the YouTube tab, paste the YouTube link. We have some more options here which I'll mention in a second. Let's just get our first dubbing done. Create. Okay, dub creation in progress. Downloading, processing, separating, transcribing, translating, finalizing, dubbed. Right. So let's listen. We can view the video here. Here we go.
En utilisant 11 Labs, Hop crée un clone de ma voix tellement réaliste que même ma femme ne peut pas faire la différence.
Right. All right, so there I am speaking French. Fantastic. Right, so let's go back to these options here because you might have noticed that you can obviously tell it's dubbed. That's not a big problem for me, but you might want to perfect the synchronization of the speech or make adjustments to the speed, etc. So that's why 11 Labs have launched a new service called Dubbing Studio. And if you think you're going to need it, before you do your generation, you need to tick this box here, and that will then create a Dubbing Studio project, which you can then open up in Dubbing Studio to get really granular and perfect everything. Just want to briefly show you the main features of the Dubbing Studio. So besides the voice being synchronized accuracy may be of vital importance to your production. So, i.e., you want to be sure that what's being said in the other language is accurate and doesn't generate confusion or misunderstanding. So one of the most important functions of the dubbing studio is the transcript editing. So that's the ability to manually edit the dialogue in case you need to edit it to change the words to make sure that the message is clear. And don't forget, it's AI, so it can and does make mistakes. So it's up to you to check the output if the content has to be accurate. And then we have sequence timing, so change the speaker's timing by clicking and dragging the clips. You can adjust the voice settings as well as add more languages within the dubbing studio. I do plan to do a video on this service in more detail. When I've done the video, I'll pop a link on the screen for you now. Then we have this option to add a watermark to reduce our character usage. That's fine for demonstration purposes, but in a real world scenario, you'll probably not want the watermark on there. So currently we're reduced by 33% because we're using a watermark, which has come out at 267 characters. If we uncheck it, then it goes up to 400. Okay. So anyway, I'm going to check it. And then we have the advanced settings here. So there are a couple of other good features here. Something that could be extremely useful is the ability to detect more than one speaker on the video. So you could have a number of different people speaking, and 11 Labs is capable of detecting them all and outputting a speech using their voice in the language you select. So you can leave it on detect so it can do the job itself, or you can tell it explicitly how many speakers there are. I'm going to tell it that there's one. You have two choices for resolution. So what you choose here is what will be available when you finish the generation for you to download. So if you want the highest quality, make sure you check it now, not later. And then finally, we have the option to set a time frame for the dubbing. This is useful if you don't want to dub the entire video. By default, it will process the entire video, which may not be what you want. Also, that could take up a lot of characters. So with this function, you can tell it exactly which part of the video to process. And this character usage comes out of your monthly quota. It's counted in the same way as the characters that you use for text generation or speech-to-speech. So let's just do it one more time. This time we'll select Spanish as the output language. By the way, if you select more than one language here, you'll see if we select German, then that gets added to the list. So if I were to leave it like this, then what I would get would be 3 output videos, one in each language. Don't want that right now, but that's an interesting feature, time saving. So let's just choose Spanish right now, and number of speakers 1, and create. Okay, so here we have it. Let's see.
Y usando 11 Labs, logré crear un clon de mi voz tan realista que ni mi esposa puede notar la diferencia.
Yeah, sounds very South American, but that's not a problem. So that's just amazing, because I can very quickly publish all my videos in any other language, and very quickly indeed reach a much wider audience. The 11 Labs dubbing feature has a lot of possible use cases, starting with my own, which would be a YouTube channel that could be published in various languages, or video content on any other video platform. It can be used for learning resources, for non-native speakers, for dubbing films and TV shows for an international audience, for promotional videos, for training materials, or for bridging the communication gap between a diverse client base or workforce. The possibilities are almost endless. Okay, now let's take a look at the projects feature of 11 Labs, which you'll find here. Main menu, projects. What projects is for is to allow you to create long-form audio content, long-form spoken word from any long-form text input. So you can convert entire novels, long transcripts, speeches, guides, research papers, the list goes on. And the idea behind it is to allow you to create this long-form spoken word content with ease and without compromising on quality due to the fact that the voices sound so realistic. So I'll run through the process with you now so you can understand it. Okay, inside the projects page we have your previous projects listed and the option to create a new project. We'll click on there. So you have 3 options. You would choose the first option, empty project, if you're not importing any text. This function allows you to write your original text from inside your project and have your speech generated directly from that. Then you can import from a URL, or you can import a document with the text on it, and 11 Labs accepts these formats here: EPUB, PDF, text and HTML. We're going to do the third option. We're going to import, click next, give the project a name, then choose a voice. So here again you have the voices that are in your voice lab and the pre-made voices from 11 Labs. Okay, I think I'm going to choose my voice. As we saw before, 11 Labs has chosen multilingual version 1 as the model for my voice. Next up is the quality selection. Here we see that unless you're on the Pro plan, the only option you have is the standard quality. However, it does say that that's suitable for most use cases. It's MP3, 128 kilobits per second. So just running through the higher quality options here. High is 192 kilobits per second and MP3, and costs 20% more in terms of characters from your quota. Audiobook compliant, as are all of these top 3. Next we have Ultra. Now the technicality, the metrics are the same, 192 and MP3, 44.1, but it says it's ultra high quality speech output employing top tier quality optimizations. So there's something else going on behind the scenes to make this superior to high. And then ultra lossless, which is a much higher bitrate of 705 kilobits per second and a WAV file as output. This puts the character cost up by 100%, so that's double the cost of the standard. So we're going to select standard, and then in the download settings, which is optional, we won't bother doing it now, you can normalize the volume to meet audiobook standards, just to make sure you're not peaking or going too low, there's too much noise. And then you can add metadata to the file that gets downloaded, title, author, ISBN number. And then this dictionaries option, I won't go into right now. Again, I may well do a more detailed video on this. You can have your project use pronunciation dictionaries, which apply pronunciation rules to the entire project. This isn't necessary, it's optional. But if you run into issues with pronunciation of specific words, it may be a lifesaver. But just for standard operation, you don't need it. Okay. Okay, now we'll upload the file. I'm going to use an EPUB file. We'll have a twist and create. So this should analyze the file and extract the chapters and titles, etc. Let's see how it does. Right, there you go. So chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. It looks like it's done it very well. We have everything in there. So if you notice, sometimes the titles, they're missing a space or a full stop. Seems to be after the Roman numerals. But not to worry, the project's feature is designed for this kind of thing, so you can fix this before generating. So we'll just put the space in there and put the full stop. Let's run through the things on this page. So this icon here with the 6 spots allows you to click and drag to change the order of the chapters, okay, which could be very handy. You can delete a chapter. If you click here, you can change the chapter name. Now also, let's say you select a paragraph, then on the right the paragraph settings will open. So a powerful feature of projects is that you can assign a voice to somebody else. So this will happen a lot in a novel. You'll have different people speaking and you'll need to assign the appropriate voice to each character. Well, I'll leave that on Jonathan for now. Okay, and each voice has its voice settings, as we saw earlier in text-to-speech. By default, they're normally fine. You can play around with it if you want. And you've got your heading buttons here, so you can designate some text as heading Obviously that's not at any time. You have access to the project settings that we looked at before. Okay, if you want to modify them, and once you have your speech ready, you can download it here. There are 3 options to download: the whole project, a compressed file of the whole project, or download on a chapter by chapter basis. A very useful tool in projects is the regenerate tool. You may find that you've generated a whole chapter and on listening back there was an error. So the regenerate allows you to fix just that error, the specific part that's wrong, by going in and editing the text and then just regenerating that specific part so that when you go to download, that part is corrected. Also, you can stop working on the project and come back to it at any time. The work that you've already done will be saved. You might also find that the import isn't perfect. Here we have some missing spaces, so you'd want to correct that manually. Anyway, let's see how this sounds. We'll do a generation of the first paragraph. Among other public buildings in a certain town, which for many reasons it will be prudent to refrain from mentioning, and to which I will assign no fictitious name, there is one anciently common to most towns, great or small, to wit, a workhouse. Sounds great. Again, you can go to your voice settings and adjust and play around and see if you like certain settings more than others, and then they can be applied to the entire project so that there's uniformity across the entire audiobook. So the overall procedure is import your text or write it, check through it, generate, regenerate anything that you don't like, then download. And that's it. So the project's function of 11 Labs really does provide a viable way of generating audiobooks or long-form speech content that does actually sound human because of the incredibly realistic voices that 11 Labs provides. If we look at this testimonial on the 11 Labs website about projects, it more or less says it all. From Lukeman Literary, despite the clear benefits of digital narration, we were not willing to embrace the new technology until a company came along with a narration of groundbreaking quality, one that could match a natural human voice. In 11 Labs' new product, we have found this quality. So I really think this is another groundbreaking, game-changing feature of 11 Labs that allows you to transform the written word into captivating audio experiences. Also, going back to the 11 Labs website again, check out these example audiobooks that have been produced.
Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll, 1865. All in the golden afternoon, full leisurely we glide, for both our oars with little skill by little arms applied, while little hands make vain pretence our wanderings to guide.
Who would say that wasn't a human?
The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde, 1890. Chapter 1. The studio was filled with the rich odor of roses, and when the light summer wind stirred amidst the trees of the garden, there came through the open door the heavy scent of the lilac, or the more delicate perfume of the pink-flowering thorn.
What can I say? Just sounds totally convincing, and the voice maintains the same quality, tone and form of speech all the way through the audiobook from beginning to end. And obviously, as 11 Labs offers 29 languages, you can do this in any of those 29 languages. Here's a German version.
Alice's Abenteuer im Wunderland von Lewis Carroll, aus dem Englischen von Antonie Zimmermann, Leipzig. Johann Friedrich Hartknoch. O schöner, goldener Nachmittag, wo Flut und Himmel lacht, von schwacher Kindeshand bewegt, die Ruder plätschern sacht.
I don't know what they're saying, but it sounds totally authentic. All right. Okay, just to add that the projects feature is available from the creator plan and upwards. It's not available on the starter or the free plan. However, you have to bear in mind that if you're doing a long form project, your character usage is going to be much higher than the quotas that are given in the starter and the free plan, at least, and maybe higher than creator.
Okay, so now let's take a more detailed look at the pricing and the plans.
So let's take a detailed look at the 11 Labs plans and pricing. So there are 5 plans: the free forever plan, Starter, Creator, Pro and Scale. Both the Starter and the Creator plans offer a significant discount on the first month. The Starter offers 80% off, so that drops down from $5 to $1. Can't say fairer than that. And then the Creator from $22 to $11 for the first month. Then they go back up to $5 or $22. And then the Pro is $99 a month and Scale $330 per month. Now these are the monthly costs. If we change it to annual, you'll see we get 2 months for free on all the plans. So Starter becomes $50 a year, Creator $220 a year, Pro $990 and Scale $3,300. So let's have a look at the differences between the plans. So the first principal difference between the plans is the number of characters that are included in the monthly usage, as we looked at before. So you have 10,000 characters in the free plan, 30,000 characters in the Starter, 100,000 in Creator, 500,000 in Pro, and 2 million in Scale, which is equivalent to 10 minutes of audio, 30 minutes of audio, 2 hours of audio, 10 hours of audio, or 40 hours of audio. So in the free plan you can generate speech, text to speech, speech to speech, dubbing to translate videos, you can create custom voices, you can have API access and more. In the Starter you get everything that you get in free, plus access to the instant cloning function, so you can clone your voice, access to Dubbing Studio, which is the service which gives you the greater control over your output when translating and dubbing videos using the dubbing feature, and the license that gives you permission to use your 11 Labs creations for commercial purposes. Now if we step up to Creator, you get everything that we've already mentioned, plus access to the professional cloning feature to make a professional clone of your voice, access to the projects feature so you can make long form speech generation content, and access to higher quality audio. Then onto Pro, where you will get everything in Creator and everything mentioned before, plus higher quality audio via an API and a usage analytics dashboard. And then in Scale, everything as well as priority support. Now also if we go down here, we'll see a bit more detail. So at the top we have the plans, the character limit we've already looked at, the custom voices. So the number of custom voices you're allowed differs between plans, and these are the voices that you will find in the voice library, or voices that you design, or your own cloned voice. We have just 3 in the free plan, 10 in the Starter, 30 in Creator, 160 in Pro, and 660 in Scale. Also, as we saw earlier, the Pro plan will give you a WAV file if you want it, and Scale as well. Voice design is available on all plans. Instant voice cloning from the Starter plan, professional voice cloning from the Creator plan, projects also from the Creator plan, as well as usage analytics. The commercial license is from the Starter plan, as well as the no attribution requirement. Okay, so that was a full breakdown of the 5 different plans available on 11 Labs. Hopefully that clears up any doubts that you might have about what's available in each plan. But don't forget you can try out most of the functions on the free plan and get a feel for the service, so I invite you to do so. And as mentioned earlier, the link is in the description below. That's all for this video on 11 Labs. Hopefully now you can see the real power and potential of this game-changing service beyond just text-to-speech. You can try 11 Labs free using the link in the description below. As detailed during the video, many of these features are on the free plan, albeit with a restricted usage. And remember that voice cloning starts from the Starter plan. If you enjoyed this video and it was useful to you, please give it a like and subscribe if you want to see more videos of this type. Bye for now and thanks for watching.